Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is that co-host that you've been meaning to get around to, but he's still just stuck in your library, Kyle JCRB Krause.
Do you have a whole library full of co-hosts?
This is kind of like a Gladys shell thing going on. So far, you've survived 99 episodes, but if you go, I'm just going to have to pull another Kyle off the shelf.
Okay. I wasn't expecting all your co-hosts to just be me, but that's...
No. It's a totally different dude, but their name is Kyle. They have to be Kyle.
Okay.
They have
for continuity's sake? I get
exactly.
It. I get it. There we go. That makes sense. Now I understand.
But I don't want you to go anywhere because, like, Kyle 27B has this really nasal, wheezy voice. I really don't want to use him. So you stay right here, please.
Are you saying my voice is not nasal and wheezy?
No, you're charming and affable.
That's a weird way to describe a voice, but okay.
So, how are you, aside from being charming and affable?
I don't know how to respond to that, Ian, but thank you. I appreciate your commentary. I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I am super tired. We're recording this the weekend-ish after Fan Expo, which is the huge East Coast show up here in Toronto. Great crowd. Got to see a lot of new faces. Not as many as the old familiar ones, which is cool to meet new people. Adam Bryce Thomas, who is, one of the mainstays of the Sonic books, and I'm working with on the Project Dragoon, which we haven't talked about a lot yet, but in the future, you'll see it. He was able to come up. He was at the table with us. Sold off a bunch of Sonic books, talked to a lot of people, lost my voice pretty much on the first day, and overall a good time. Just, that's 4 days and literally hundreds, if not thousands of people passing by.
Yeah.
So, I was tired.
There was I saw that you got a lot of compliments regarding Megaman from folks.
It's kind of a weird thing, too, because it seems like when I do the Canadian shows especially, I will get a lot of people coming by the table saying, can we get Mega Man back? Or, man, Mega Man was great. Thank you so much for Mega Man. And it's like, that makes me happy. It means that I have created something with a legacy, even though I had to piggyback off of a giant global franchise to do it. But that's not the point. The point is, people enjoyed it, and they want to see more of it, and I would love to do more of it. It's just not up to me.
Yeah, I agree with those people. Those people are correct. We need more Mega Man, and I love Mega Man. And it's probably my favorite thing you've done.
I also got a bit of a buzz lately because, I don't know, it kind of hit me on a lark. I tweeted out a synopsis of what the old Mario on Archie springboard was.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least what I contributed to it. And folks seem to at least have gotten a kick out of what might have been had it gone forward. If you haven't seen it, head over to my Twitter at IanFlynnBKC. Give it a read. And a little bit, in a day or two or whenever, I think I'll get around to talking about the Metroid pitch too, because why not? I like attention.
The Mario pitch was definitely a bit more. You said it when you pitched it. It was a little more. I don't want to say dark, but more serious in tone than kind of expected.
I think part of that is just because it's hitting the main plot points. You don't go, and here you put a joke in, and here you put a joke in. But yeah, overall, it was much more character and narrative driven. And looking back at it now, understanding the property better, knowing what Nintendo likes more, I see why that didn't go anywhere. I would approach it completely differently this time around.
Yeah, I could see a more serious tone for a Metroid comic. So,
absolutely,
I'm interested in hearing about that actually.
But Mario is all about whimsy and
right.
It's the type of world where you can literally fight for the fate of the cosmos and then go karting the next day.
Exactly, with the person you saved the universe from. With the giant evil dinosaur you save the world from, you can go karting with him the day after you save it. Yeah,
you cook him alive, and he gets resurrected by his son, and that just becomes a new character. It's a weird, wacky world.
Yeah, or like Metal Mario being a separate character from regular Mario now. It's like, what? Is this like a Sonic, Supersonic split? Like, was one evil and one good? Who knows? This is getting way too far into the weeds. I don't know. That's course correct. Let's turn it back around again.
Yeah. Because we're going to be talking about games, and correct me if I'm wrong. Was this a patron submitted topic?
No, actually, this is one I came up with on my own, where I was like, what would be a good BumbleKast topic? Oh, I know. Games we've never played. It's like, how are we going to talk about games we've never played? Well,
going down this list, it's mostly games you haven't played. I thought I was out of the mainstream loop, but Kyle,
I'm way out. I'm way out.
You're a library man, so
dude, I'm a racing game guy. None of these are racing games. What am I supposed to do with that?
I think we're just going to touch on what you haven't played this episode.
Okay.
And we're going to bounce back and forth between me going, Kyle, how could you not? It's so great because of this and this. And me going, yeah, I haven't played it either.
Okay. Yeah, because I have a pretty sizable list of these are more mainstream, sort of critically and fan approved games. And there's some underground stuff and some smaller indie games that I'm not really touching on here, but yeah, it's like critical darlings and stuff that I've just never touched, even like stuff that's decades old. So, we've talked about actually the very first one at the top of my list before, but I guess it bears repeating, would be the Assassin's Creed series. I have not played them at all.
I guess I blocked this out. You haven't played any of them?
No.
Ever?
No. And here's the really sad part. I have like several of them available to me. There's been so many like free giveaways of them throughout the years. Like I have Assassin's Creed 2 on Xbox 360. I have Assassin's Creed Revelation, or is it Revelation?
I don't know. I lost track.
There's like the Assassin's Creed. It's the Assassin's Creed 3 spinoff that was on PSP and then got ported to PC. And then there's the 2D side-scrolling ones like Assassin's Creed China. I have that one. I have access to several of them. I think there are a few I have on Ubisoft's launcher thing that I could play, but I haven't touched any of them. I just haven't. I don't know what it is. I just haven't played any of them.
Only we had a gaming channel where you could just dive into these things.
I know, it's so weird, but I'm playing Mario 64 instead, a game I've played a million zillion times, and I'm having a whole heck of a lot of fun with, and I actually want to play it again, but I want to play it randomized after, because somebody suggested Mario 64 randomized, and I'm like, I know Mario 64 well enough that I might be able to pull it off. Even if it is randomized, it's like, I'm willing to try it.
Well, when you get to Assassin's Creed, here's your checklist.
Okay.
You play Assassin's Creed 1 because that started the whole thing. It redefined gaming in a lot of ways. It's really rough around the edges, but for what it was doing, it was really revolutionary. Definitely worth experiencing just because of that.
Okay.
Then you play Assassin's Creed 2 because it's the best game in the series.
That's what I've heard.
Then you play the kind of quasi-spinoffs if you want to. They're not bad, but they don't really bring anything of note to the table. You skip 3 because it's garbage.
Okay.
4 is pretty cool. Black Flag, the boat sailing mechanic, is the best part of the game, and everyone was like, that should be just a game by itself, and they made that into a completely different franchise. But you don't want to play Rogue because it's basically Black Flag again, but somehow they made it worse, and I don't know how. And then everything else is a mixed bag that I haven't bothered with. So there you go.
Okay. See, I've wanted to play the pirate ones. Those sound cool, but I just haven't gotten around to it. It's not an aversion to them or anything. It's just like, I don't know. I got other things. I got way too many games to play. My backlog is freaking. I got games from decades ago still own and haven't played. It's pretty sad and bad and. Yeah, it's a problem. That's why I have so many games on this list, I think. I guess the next game series I haven't really put time into at all is Call of Duty. I don't know if you've played that at all, Ian.
Nah, I've never been big on first-person shooters or war sims especially.
Yeah,
it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I look at Call of Duty and it doesn't really appeal to me on a personal level. Just in general. I've played a little bit of the multiplayer, which I don't really count, but I played multiplayer local with a few friends for like an hour or two. That's pretty fun. It's just just playing a video game with friends. That's really it. It's not really. I wouldn't say that's the main Call of Duty experience. So yeah, I've never played that. God of War, on the other hand, I've also not played. Despite the fact that I own the full collection PS3 collection that has like all the games, even the PSP versions. And it's like, what am I doing with my life? Why don't I play them?
What are you doing, Kyle?
This is what I do, Ian. I buy games when they're cheap and they sit on my shelf. My physical or digital shelf. They're like, oh, this game is super cheap. I'll get around to it eventually. And it just sits there for years. So, yeah, this one I've not gotten around to.
I've only played the main trilogy, and on the one hand, part of me feels dirty for liking it as much as I do, because it feels very base denominator in a lot of ways. But that and some of the violence is honestly a bit much for me, and I didn't think of myself that squeamish. But there is a lot to like about that original trilogy. Just the hack and slash that you do in the primary gameplay is really satisfying as you just mow through enemies left, right, and center. Even though the brutalizations you do to the larger enemies are kind of queasy making, they feel good when you finally pull them off, especially after they've ruined your combo and they just won't die. Oh, you'll die. You're going to die, and I'm going to enjoy it now, brother. And the set pieces are gorgeous. The cinematic approach to the stages is truly awe-inspiring. I think the best out of the three is number 2, in my opinion. But all of them are just really, really neat. And I kind of wish there were more games in that style where the gameplay itself is fairly simple but rewarding, and then the spectacle of where you're navigating and how you traverse is what really pads it out. Now, you play through it in a few hours, you have a good time, you're like, wow, that moment was really cool, and that moment was really cool, and that moment was really cool. I guess I'll go through it again. It doesn't need to be a 40-hour-long campaign with the highest fidelity and deep meaning and blah, 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 blah. It was just a really pretty, really fun game to play.
Yeah. It looks like my type of game. It looks like a game I would really love. I've played games that are like it. Games that... God of War is actually pretty influential just in terms of its combat mechanics and that sort of thing. It's been touted highly, and I've played games that use similar mechanics to that, like Bayonetta, and I guess some of the Batman Arkham games kind of play a little bit God of War-like. Sort of that third-person action combo system that they have
with the big set pieces. Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah. And I've played those, and I've really enjoyed those. I just have not gotten to God of War, so I'll get there eventually. But yeah, I know it's hugely influential. It's just a game, just another series. It passed me right the heck by. So much so that they even practically nearly rebooted it, kinda, for modern consoles. And it's like, well, now I have a whole reboot that they're probably going to launch a whole series out of. So, and that game looks really good too. That game looks freaking awesome. I again just haven't played it. I don't have the console for that one though, the newest one. Anyway, speaking of another PlayStation exclusive, Uncharted. Not played any of them, which is so weird because I love the new Tomb Raider games, and these are kind of along the same lines.
I would think it'd be right up your alley. I haven't played anything beyond a smattering of 2, only because I really, really couldn't get a handle on the controls. That being said, I watched a comprehensive LP of the quadrilogy, and I greatly appreciate the series for what it is. Voice acting is top-notch. Everything is utterly gorgeous.
Yeah.
And if you can get a handle on how they want you to play the game, it looks like it's a lot of fun. But I don't know. I struggled with 2 for a while and was just not having fun with it. So I guess it's just not meant to be.
I've heard the first one is a little rough, and that people who played it were kind of surprised that it kept going and got as good as it did. So I'll probably get around to it eventually someday, but we'll see. After this is a big one that I have on my list: Pokemon.
None of them?
I will not say I've never played Pokemon, but I've played like an hour of red or blue, one of them. That's about it. Yeah, none of them.
Kyle.
I just don't have the patience for RPG monster collecting. I just don't. I just don't. There's just something about it where I'm just like, these character designs are fun. The Pokemon designs are cool, but I'm just like, that's not enough to draw me in to where I just want to keep playing it. And I don't know. It doesn't grab me like it does so many other people. It never has. I'm right at the ripe age where Pokemon was new I was in 7th grade. Pokemon was huge with people at school and stuff. And I just this is just a Nintendo franchise that just completely went right by me. I'm just like, I don't know. It just never got me.
You remind me years ago, and I may have already mentioned this on a previous season. I was at my grandmother's house looking through the newspaper because I was bored and I needed something to do.
Yeah.
And there was an article talking about this obscure Japanese cartoon in which a particular episode flashed so much it caused seizures amongst children.
Obscure, huh?
And I thought to myself, well, good thing that kind of thing never comes over here. And that anime was Alstein.
Was what? Sorry.
Never mind.
You roboted out.
Oh, no! I had a joke and it got roboted.
I know. You said something Stein.
Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein. But okay.
The boat has sailed. The joke has passed.
Oh, okay. I get the joke at least.
I appreciate it. I do.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry the robot attacked you.
I've played through the main series and dabbled in some of the side games. I find that I can get really, really into it up until the end of the main campaign. And then once you hit the metagame, I burn out real fast.
Yeah.
Because they've made it increasingly easy to breed the perfect critter, but just it's still tedious. And to me, it takes out all of the fun and the wonder of the game. It's all about exploring new regions and coming across something and going, what is that? I want it. Get in my pocket. And then when you get to the end game and you're fighting just, trainer after trainer or the people who take the game really seriously, and it's like you haven't mini-maxed the right critters, it kind of kills it for me. The latest one is not really jazzing me all that much. There's some cool designs to be sure, but I don't know. This upcoming generation just hasn't grabbed me like some in the past.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever jump into this one. This is one of those where I'm like, that's far on the back burner for me. Maybe someday, but I have so many other games to play. I'm just like, I don't have that many hours to dedicate to hunting monsters. Or not hunting monsters. That's a different game that I also have only played a little bit of. But to collecting monsters, there we go. To pocketing monsters, I don't know. I got other things to throw in my pockets other than monsters, so I'll do that instead. Anyway, the next one may surprise some old Sega diehards. I've never played a Shinobi game.
I've never successfully played a Shinobi game.
No, I've never played one at all, and I don't know why. I literally don't know why. I have multiple collections with Shinobi in them, Sega collections. I have multiple ways to play various Shinobi games, not playing any of them, and I don't know why.
I have approached a few titles here and there, and then after I limped away from the console, went, okay, maybe I'll try Pokemon again.
It's one of those games. I love ninja action games. Ninja Gaiden's freaking great. The originals on the NES, those are awesome games. I love those. And Shinobi seems like it should be right up my alley too. I just haven't gotten around to it. So another one I'm just, I'll get to it eventually, especially since they're arcade action games. They're kind of short, so I can whip through them hopefully in a couple hours. That's kind of the games I like. Games I can get through fairly quickly. So arcade action, good for me. So I'll get to it eventually. But on the other side of the spectrum, but also a Sega classic, Phantasy Star. Never played Phantasy Star, any of them. Classic Sega RPG series, the 2D ones for Genesis and Master System, haven't played them. The new ones, Phantasy Star Online, never played it. Never played any of them. So just another one of those series that just completely passed me by.
I have researched the original Phantasy Star series a lot because I missed out on my chance to play those, and I really want to get into it, but they're kind of old to the point where I have a hard time getting into that retro style of gaming, but I love what is there. I did play the original PSO on Dreamcast, but we didn't have a dedicated phone line for the internet, so I played it solo for the most part. And you can't do that up to a point. I mean, I'm sure you can, but the game is designed for a party, and one dude, you're not going to get too far, especially since I was a little lost on some of the mechanics. But I don't know. It's a really trippy, weird science fantasy game. It's interesting.
Yeah. I like the sort of world. I've done some research and stuff into it too. I like sort of the fantasy meets technology aspect of it, or actually I think at least one of them does take place in a technological future thing, and I actually really like that kind of setting for an RPG rather than just straight up classic fantasy, which is also fun, but I definitely like a more techie sci-fi side of things. So I don't know, maybe I'll play one of them someday, we'll see, but for now haven't touched it. Same with Dark Souls, actually. Going onto another side of gaming, a modern side. Never played any Dark Souls, and actually I don't really think I ever will. It does not appeal to me in the least. I look at it and I'm like, I can tell this isn't for me. So.
I'm pretty much in the same boat. When folks are saying, "Oh my gosh, it's so hard," it's like, you're saying that like it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Have fun. I'll be over here.
I haven't played Bloodborne either, which is basically kind of the similar thing, but with a different setting. But I like that setting more. I like the setting of Bloodborne. It's more that Victorian style. Actually, reminds me a little bit of Castlevania, which is appealing to me. I like that. So Bloodborne is something I might try one day, might be willing to give a shot to. But Dark Souls, I honestly don't have any interest in it. It's one of those things. Just not for me, I guess. And then I didn't order this in any particular way. It's just kind of funny how it keeps flipping back and forth between silly games and dark games, because I got Animal Crossing after this. And
it's so comfy, Kyle.
I know. I don't know. I never got into it, and I don't know. It's cute, but I'm just, I don't know. I'm just gonna play other games instead. I don't know.
Animal Crossing is one.
Go ahead.
It's just one of those games where if you like the very slow pace, you like setting schedules, and you like gathering stuff, it's right up. That's for you. It's not very action oriented. It's not even very goal oriented. I mean, it has things for you to work towards, but it's pretty much set at your pace, and it's just relaxing.
See, and
you can just sit back and enjoy the crossing.
I've played
of the animals.
I've played games like that. Stuff like simulation games like SimCity. I've played, there's not really a thing in mind. I don't really play SimCity to play the goals. I just like to play the free modes. And then I've played like the truck simulator games, which are just sort of aimless, go at your own pace, just relax, do what you want, except when you get to parking a trailer and then have a minor heart attack because it's asking you to try and fit a square peg into a round hole the round hole is also smaller than the square peg, so trying to bash it in there. And yeah, but other than that, it's just kind of a nice, relaxing drive. And
Unless you have to deal with some kind of pesky devil, but
Well, yeah, true. But it's kind of aimless for the most part. You have a goal to make the delivery, but after that, once you make the delivery, you just make another delivery, and yeah, it's just kind of doing your own thing. So I've played games like that. It's just, yeah. And by that extension, I've also never played Stardew Valley, which... Is that bad, Ian? Are you sighing because you're disappointed in me? Or are you sighing because you're disappointed?
I feel like if I've played it, everyone should have played that one. I mean, it is your... what's the Nintendo IP? Harvest Moon. It's the Harvest Moon for those of you who don't want to play Harvest Moon. It's, part of the luster wears off once you have figured out the cycles to the game, I guess.
And there's another series I haven't played, Harvest Moon.
Yeah. I mean, once you know what crops to plant, what people to talk to, what to get where, then it becomes more like a checklist of sorts. But
yeah,
I don't know, going in blind, playing it for the first time, it was really satisfying to get that farm under control and get everything going and plant your stuff and grow your stuff and breed your stuff and sell your stuff and keep doing stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. Just haven't played that one either. Probably, I don't know if I'll ever get around to it. We'll see. Jumping away from those, Luigi's Mansion. These games I need to play. I've watched a playthrough of the first game, and I need to play them. I want to play them. I just haven't gotten to it yet. So, yeah, with Luigi's Mansion 3 on the horizon, I probably should play the first two. They're not very long either, so I don't know what I'm doing.
The first one's pretty short. The second one, I'm not 100% sure because I got stuck on a boss and never got around to finishing it, but it has a little more length to it.
Yeah.
The third one looks like it's going to be freaking enormous.
Yeah. And sticking with Nintendo here real quick, Paper Mario. Also, never played any of those. I actually own Super Paper Mario. Haven't played it. So, I played Mario RPG, which is kind of... Paper Mario is kind of a spiritual successor to, but have not played Paper Mario. And I haven't played the Mario and Luigi series either.
I've not played a ton of Mario and Luigi. I will say with Paper Mario, you're better off just playing the second one and calling it quits there.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with the first one. It sets the tone and the standard, and it's fine. But 2 is such a good game, and then they kind of drop the ball after that.
Yeah, Thousand Year Door is the one I hear people just go.
Kyle, it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It looks fun. I'll get to it maybe. It's an RPG though, so it's another one that's far on the back burner because it's so freaking long. So I don't know, maybe someday. Panzer Dragoon. Also never played this. I don't know why. It's a game I should love. It's a series I should love. It looks awesome, but I just haven't gotten to it. It's kind of like it's an on-rails shooter, flying shooter, kind of like Star Fox. It's like, why haven't I played this? It seems really stupid.
Exactly. It's Star Fox with dragons.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And
why have I not played it, Kyle?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. But the remake is coming out, which might actually help.
I know.
Because
I'm excited for that.
Because I will have an opportunity. I will have the system it's on to play it. I think that's part of the problem is I've never had a Saturn, so I missed a lot of Saturn stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is like a huge hole in my Sega knowledge and my Sega game playing experiences. It's freaking Saturn. Which is a dang shame because it's got some excellent games. So, maybe someday. I've never played System Shock. I've played BioShock Infinite. That's the one game in the quote-unquote Shock series I've played. But the first 2 System Shock games, System Shock 1 and 2, I've not played. They have remasters either coming or already out. I don't remember. I think one of them's already out, and System Shock 2 is still in development. But I've not played them. Classic PC shooters, and I'm just like, never played them. Missed out on it.
Are they linked to BioShock?
Not directly, but they do have some stuff in common. But System Shock and BioShock, like BioShock, I guess is sort of a spiritual. They have a spiritual successor link mainly. So
just because you mentioned Infinite, I thought that was BioShock, not System Shock.
It is BioShock, yes. But BioShock and System Shock, they do have They do have some linkage.
I wouldn't know because I didn't play that series either.
Bioshock Infinite, I actually quite liked. Some people don't care for it now, but it was good at the time, I guess. I don't know.
I had fun with it.
Yeah. Deus Ex, also, I've never played those. Any of them. I probably should. That's another...
Which, given your love for the cyberpunk and all that stuff, I'm a little surprised.
It's another game that should appeal to me. It should be right up my alley. It has that cyberpunk futuristic sci-fi style that I should be into, but I've never played them. Just haven't gotten to them. I never knew they existed when I was doing PC gaming as a kid, and now I'm just haven't played any of them after that. So the newer ones in the series look gorgeous. But yeah, it's another one that's just on my to-play eventually list. And much the same way Halo is also on my to-play eventually list. I'm just wondering now at this point, should I even bother playing the original, which I do own, because I got it given to me as a box lot of a bunch of games in it. So I've had it for forever, but I've not played it. If I should just bother playing with the original version, or if I should just go for the remastered collection that's out there now. I don't know at this point.
I would say go with remastered because you can actually flip back and forth between the original and the updated looks.
Right.
And it's kind of fun to see, what used to look so grand and epic was just like a block in the black.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty used to that though. I play a lot of older games, so it doesn't bother me. So the older style graphics like that don't bother me so much. I'm into it.
I don't know. I'm kind of bitter at the Halo series because I jumped on the bandwagon hardcore around 2.
Yeah.
Was deeply disappointed by 4. They won me back with Reach and ODST, and then 4 was just awful. So I think I'm done. I'll follow it from the sidelines. But here's the thing:
is 5
I would recommend
yet?
2. 4 is out. I don't know if Infinite. No, Infinite's not out yet.
Okay.
I would recommend 2 because I like its story best. And that's heavily biased because Keith David does the voice of the Arbiter, and I would listen to Keith David, read the phone book. So there's that.
Definitely, yes, I agree.
But I feel like 2 has a handful of levels that I would like to replay, and then a whole bunch of the game that I really wouldn't want to touch again. I'm just there for the story, and there's a lot of shooting to be done. It's not just, an audio drama. So I don't know. I probably don't have the best opinion on the Halo series.
I like Red versus Blue. That was fun. It got kind of serious, though. It took a serious turn, and it's like, well, it's still fun, but I don't know how into the seriousness I am. I like the silliness. But yeah, Halo's one I'll probably get to eventually. It's another one of those you think it appealed to me. It has that sci-fi futuristic look to it. Maybe. Eventually I'll play it. But it's supposed to be coming to PC, which might make things easier. Anyway. And this one might surprise you, Ian. I've never played any of the Metal Gear Solid games beyond Metal Gear Solid 2.
Metal Gear?
Or actually, I've not played Metal Gear Solid 2 and beyond. I haven't even, I wouldn't say I've finished the first one either. And I don't know. It's another series that completely blew by me.
Kyle, how could you have never played Metal Gear? It's one of the quintessential sneaking stealth games that takes itself entirely too seriously, except when it doesn't.
I know. It's another series that I just never got around to. I played the first one. I played my stepbrothers played the first one, and I don't think I really got it. I think that was the problem. I didn't quite understand the story. Which
you're not alone there.
No, I know that's not what I mean. I just don't think I quite understood the tone. I didn't.
You're not alone there.
Of the first game, though, the first game's fairly straightforward, isn't it?
It is considerably tamer compared to what would come after.
Yeah. But I never really got into. I just never really got into it. I don't know if I ever got far enough to realize just how absolutely silly off the rails the series was until much later. It was until like Metal Gear Solid, I don't know, might have even been 5 before I realized just how silly things were. Which would be more appealing to me.
I went into it thinking it was like a serious, political subterfuge, Black Ops type of thing.
See, and that's kind of how I always thought it was too.
And I was playing through the first game, and Snake decides that he's going to get past the lasers by smoking a pack of cigarettes, which he smuggled in his stomach. And it's like, wait, what? What? And then you get to Revolver Ocelot, who's shooting at you, bouncing bullets off of walls, and how he loves to reload in the middle of battle. And then a cybernetic ninja chops his arm off. And I'm like, what? What is this game? And then I understood. So I had gotten on board, and I'm playing through 3. Aaliyah hadn't really gotten into the series yet. So she's watching me play, and she thought, like I did, that this was a serious type of political drama game. And I come across Ocelot for the first time, and he summons his unit by going, "Ah!" And they all jump out like Sentai warriors. And she's sitting there going, what is this game? And then we come across the first, real boss, the Pain, as he summons bees to make various grenades and weapons. He shouts, Tommy gun! And he now has a Tommy gun that shoots bees because it's made of bees. And she's going, what is this game? And that's how I fell in love with Metal Gear. I am terrible at playing them.
Uh-huh.
I can't it's kind of like Uncharted. I can't wrap my head around the controls, and the tension I get from trying to do it right, being all sneaky, just kills the enjoyment for me.
I think that's part of also why I didn't get into the first one, because I'm not a sneaky type of player. I like to go in guns blazing, and you can't do that.
Yeah, so... Well, you can in 5 if you want to go kind of like the Venom Snake route, but I don't know. There's a couple of guys who do these really comprehensive LPs. They're called Chip and Ironicus. I highly recommend all their stuff, and they're currently going through Metal Gear 5. That's how I know most of my Metal Gear stuff. Yeah. I love watching them play. I love the series for what it is, but I can't really play it myself.
Yeah. All right. Maybe eventually I'll start playing those. Really should.
I would say if you're going to play any of them, play 3. I think that's what I've heard. Best of them.
Yeah, and 3 is like the earliest in the storyline, isn't it? It's prequel to everything else, pretty much.
Right.
So, yeah, okay. All right, after that, probably some surprises to Sonic fans. I've played most Sonic games out there, of course. I mean, I'm a Sonic fan. I've played most of them, but there's a couple that have evaded me. Sonic Chronicles, which at this point I'm actually kind of not playing out of just out of a sense of, like, I don't know, boycotting it, kind of. If for no other reason than because they stole freaking MIDIs for the music. They got onto VGmusic.com and stole MIDIs. It's like, well, yeah, it's Sonic music. It's technically legally owned by Sega, and you're free to do what you want. But that's fan-made work that you're just yoinking right off the internet and putting in your game without credit. What the heck, man? So yeah, I'm not playing Sonic Chronicles because of that, and Sonic Rivals because I've never owned a PSP.
Chronicles, aside from some fun characterization, you're really not missing anything.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
I mean, it's non-canon, so all the neat new ideas that were introduced are never going to show up again, and the gameplay itself is not great, and the artwork is not great, and it runs kind of bad, and actually got a blue screen of death playing it. When your game can crash a DS, you've done something wrong. Now, the rival games, I think, are underappreciated. They are a really nifty on-rails racing game with a little bit of a battle component and some nifty music and some great set pieces, and I really liked them.
I've heard good things. I just haven't... I never had a PSP, so just completely went by me. But so I want to play them, though. They look actually pretty fun. And I like racing games, so I think I'd be right there, but just haven't gotten to it yet. Speaking of games I haven't gotten to for no discernible reason, Mega Man Legends 2 and Tron Bonne. Misadventures of Tron Bonne. Haven't played him. I played and beat Mega Man Legends 1, and I loved it, but just Legends 2 and Tron Bonne completely went by me. And, yeah, I want to play them. Eventually, I will, I hope. But I don't know. Same with Mega Man X6. I've played all of them except that one.
That's the one where they introduced the nightmare system, and that's like the hardest, stupidest one, right?
I think so, yeah. I've even played X7. I haven't beaten X7, but I've played X7, and it's terrible. I don't recommend it. X6 is also where the series kind of went off the rails because X6 wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to end with X5, so things got weird. X8 was good. I like that. I would love an X9, but who knows? Yeah, never played it. I still haven't played Nier Automata. Don't know if it's for me or not. I have not decided. Looking at it, it's hard to tell. I'll be willing to give it a shot, though.
From my understanding, if you enjoyed Bayonetta, you should enjoy it.
Right. And I did like Bayonetta. I should stream Bayonetta, actually, so I have a reason to finish it. So, yeah, it looks like I would like it, but I don't even have it yet. It's expensive. That's why. That's mainly why. It's still pricey. It hasn't come down in price. The heck, man?
Oh, it was absolutely beloved. So, yeah, it's probably never going to go down in price.
Yeah, not really. It's going to be a long time before it does. So, we'll see. Another Saturn classic that I haven't played because I never owned a Saturn. Burning Rangers.
That is overdue for some kind of love, some kind of remake.
This one kind of hurts me, actually, because every time I see Burning Rangers, every time I hear Burning Rangers, I just fall in love. I just want to play it. I just haven't gotten to it. I need to play Burning Rangers at some point. The Burning Rangers stage in my Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed was great. I love that. Mainly the music was probably why. But still, I need to play it eventually. I need to get to it. Speaking of games I probably need to get to, Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, and you know how I am with spoopy games.
I know.
And this is Kyle.
This is another super influential game that actually has left its mark everywhere. Like the third person action style that's so common nowadays. I think Resident Evil 4 pioneered a lot of that. Mm-hmm. So this is another one that I'm sorely missing out on and need to get to eventually. So it's I probably even own it. And I just haven't gotten
like 700 different versions of it. So yeah,
looking at my Steam looking at my Steam library, yes, I do own it. I also own the much less well-received Resident Evil 5 and both of the Revelations games. So yeah, I should play 4. I loved 2, which was surprising for me because I hated scary games, but when I was introduced to Resident Evil 2, I loved it, so I should play 4 eventually here. Actually, Resident Evil 4 as a series is kind of, wouldn't say passed me by, but I was not exposed to it, or I was only exposed to it through other people. I never really played much of it myself. It's not a game I would have picked up on my own, that's for sure, but being exposed to it through other people has actually helped me appreciate it a bit more than I otherwise would have. Also, games that are influential, and I've not played Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yep. Actually, there's a lot of 3D Zelda games I technically have not played, but Breath of the Wild's probably the biggest one.
Not even going to go into the rant. Everyone knows that it's brilliant and it's art, except for the final boss. So there you go. Just play it someday. Play it.
I will eventually, maybe. I don't know. I don't even own it though. I own a Switch and I don't own Breath of the Wild. And isn't there I
think that's illegal in most states.
I was gonna say, hasn't there been more sales of Breath of the Wild than there have been Switches? I think that's happened. I don't know if that's also counting the Wii U version or not, which might be part of it. But if it is not counting the Wii U version, then that's hilarious. Yeah, Breath of the Wild. I just haven't gotten to it. And same with ARMS. I'm waiting for ARMS to come down in price. That's the main reason why I haven't played it yet. But it's
and being a Nintendo game, that's going to be a while.
It's being really stubborn. It's actually being a lot more stubborn than other Nintendo games in terms of price. Because even like Mario Odyssey and stuff has come down, or you can get it on a deal. But ARMS just is not. But it looks like a game I would love. It looks gorgeous, and it looks super fun. But man, I need to get to it. Cuphead looks lovely. It's a beautiful game. Absolutely stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Brutally difficult. I'll never play it. I will never play Cuphead. It's very likely I will never play Cuphead. It's way too hard. Way too crazy for me. But it's super pretty to look at. It's absolutely amazing what they did. Just the animation quality and just the way it looks. And the music. Oh, the music is so good in Cuphead. But man, it's not a game I don't ever want to touch it. Celeste. You know what? I have this game now, as of today. So I should play it.
You should.
It looks beautiful.
I know nothing about it.
It looks good. And it's a kind of it's a tough platformer that's kind of along the lines of Super Meat Boy, but has a much more serious tone. And I've seen some gameplay of it. It looks like it would be fun. And it actually kind of looks like it tugs on your heartstrings a little bit, too. It's one of those kind of indie games.
It's an indie darling.
Yep. So I have not played it yet. But I own it now, so I probably should get around to it. Same with Undertale. But, you see, I've kind of spoiled Undertale by watching multiple playthroughs of it, so kind of screwed myself over, I guess.
Part of that game is going in blind, and if you know what you're doing, it takes away from the experience just a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. So, but I've watched multiple playthroughs at this point, so it's like, well, do I need to play it now? Not so much. Man, that the Genocide Run is freaking Genocide Run is freaking depressing. It's a beautiful game though. We already went through Stardew Valley, and my last game that I've not played, Fortnite.
Yeah, right there with you.
I don't know. I haven't played Public Battlegrounds G either. Wait, no, that's different. PUBG. Yes.
You just pulled an ATM machine.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of intentional. It was PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Not played that either. I don't know.
I would
Seems
kind of like
cool,
to get into it.
But go ahead.
I don't know. At this point, I figure everyone has gotten so into the groove with it, I'm not going to be able to do anything. I will spawn, I will die, and be back in the lobby within 5 minutes. I can spend my time elsewhere.
Right, yeah. Apex Legends kind of the same thing for me. I'm just like, I don't know. I played a little bit of Overwatch, which is obviously not a 1v100 shooter, but I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, not in the same vein, but I feel like Overwatch is also another one where I'm just like, I had fun with it, but I'm kind of done. And I feel like Fortnite would be kind of the same thing for me, where I play it for a little bit and just be kind of done with it after. I'd just get sick of dying. So, yeah, that's most of the popular games that I have not played. Yeah, it's a pretty long list. Pretty crazy that I have not gotten to some of these, especially since I own them in physical form even, and still haven't played them. I need to do more streaming, I guess. We'll see. So, now that we've gone through my whole list, which I actually didn't expect we would do, let's go ahead and get into the Q&A.
Yes. If you want to ask your question and have it answered here on the show, email us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com, tweet to us at BumbleKast, comment in the YouTube comments below, or post pretty much anywhere on the Patreon page if you are a patron. If you want your question answered sooner rather than later, become a $5 patron over at patreon.com/BumbleKast or donate at ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and make sure to include your name along with your question.
Indeed. All right. let's go ahead and get into the priority Q&A. First of all, from our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast. First up, Scruffymatt. Of course it's Scruffymatt. It's almost always Scruffymatt. Hey guys, how's the podcast going today?
Not too bad. We've been covering a lot of stuff.
Cool.
Going over Kyle's list of games.
So I've got a question for you.
Oh, you weren't really asking. Okay.
A couple of years ago at a convention, I got to see Daniel Cudmore, who played Colossus in the X-Men movies. When asked which character he'd most like to interact with if he got to be in an MCU movie, his answer was the Hulk, because I want to fight him. He then talked about the fight just going on in the background of the entire movie, Peter Griffin versus Giant Chicken style, while the other characters were in the foreground concentrating on dealing with the movie's actual plot. An inspired answer. So to my question, which character would you most like to see added to the MCU, and who would you be most excited about them interacting with? I just want Tom Holland's Spider-Man back is not a valid answer to this question, because we all want that. Yeah, that was weird. Money, am I right?
He'll be back. Disney always gets its way. Give it time.
That's kind of what I'm like. Yeah, they're just using public opinion as leverage against each other. It's typical. Anyway, yeah. So, Ian, you want to hit this one first? Because I'm still trying to think.
See, I don't know. They've already covered a lot of the bases for me. I guess the most I would have wanted to see is Hugh Jackman reprise his role as Wolverine somewhere in Endgame, playing opposite Chris Evans. But not. There isn't anything that I'm really going, ooh, I want to see this now. They've done everything that I'm kind of remotely familiar with, so kudos on them. I'm looking forward to them making hopefully a good Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah. And
actually make me give a darn about those characters, because it's worked with everybody else so far.
That's true. Yeah. Fantastic Four, I don't know. There's something about them that I've never gotten into them so much. Except She-Hulk. Does she count as a Fantastic Four character? I love She-Hulk.
I think she's been on the team at some point.
She has. That's what I was getting to. But I was just thinking, like, is she technically a Fantastic Four character? I guess not really anymore, but she was at one point.
I was more excited at the idea of Tom Hardy's Venom against Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Except they took Venom in a way different direction than I was thinking, so...
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Pretty much.
What about you?
Well, actually, I think I would love to see Spider-Gwen come to the MCU properly.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why, other than the fact that I just love Spider-Gwen. She's a really fun character, that I just want to see in there somehow. I don't know. Are we actually going to get to alternate universes and stuff like that in the MCU? We got teased with it a little bit, I guess, but obviously it was not true because it was Mysterio saying it. So I don't know, but I've heard someday they introduce.
I've heard the next Doctor Strange is supposed to get into that stuff.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yeah, it does say the title is literally Multiverse of Madness or whatever, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
So we should get into that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, I'm into it. If they could work out something with freaking Sony, because Sony has the rights to all the Spider characters, even the ones made after the deal originally. That's really stupid. Marvel, you done screwed up back in the day. You didn't realize it, but you did.
Well, I mean, honestly, let's look at what they lost out on. We've got maybe a handful of decent X-Men films, and the best Spider-Man films were the ones they had to deal with. So aside from Into the Spider-Verse, I beg your pardon.
Right.
So everything else, they're kind of laughing to the bank.
Right, I know, but still, it seems kind of like it was a bit of a short-sighted move at the time, but then again, it was also a company-saving move, so they did what they could. So I get it, but man, it's really coming back to bite them. So, but yeah, Spider-Gwen I would love to see. Actually, there's a couple of Spider characters that have shown up recently that I'd like to see in there too, like Silk. Silk is also a good one. But yeah, that's about it, I guess. Next one from Andrew D. Back in the Archie Sonic days on the Bumble Comics forum, a user asked if you had given a name to the Dark Present sleeper agent that acted as a maid for Knuckles' family. When another member said they liked to refer to her as Misty Ray, you deemed it as too punny to pass up, and after that immediately declared it to be official fan-made canon. What is the line you draw between not accepting anything from fans and accepting a fan idea as canon, and does this mean you're open to punny name suggestions for background characters?
Okay, I should have known that. Oh, you see, open the window just a crack and everything comes in.
Uh-huh.
The thing with Misty Ray is that character never had a name, never had a purpose outside of that scene, and would never be seen again. Never mind, we were kind of never going to be able to touch the future storyline again, but that's a whole other thing. It was such a background character that, I felt like I could playfully say, oh, sure, that's her official name now, without it having any repercussions, because there was no way that character was ever going to show up again. They were a non-entity. They were a plot point given physical form. So to that degree, if you want to take me as word of God and say, okay, that was her official name, it's pretty harmless because it's not going to affect the book in any way, shape, or form. Beyond that, for legal reasons, I need to stipulate this again. I cannot accept any fan creations. No fan characters, no fan ideas for stories, nothing. I mean, there's wiggle room when you're doing, fan art of official stuff. Like if you do a picture of SBO, that's not a problem. It's SBO. I don't own SBO. If you have SBO, doing a ninja thing, SBO is a ninja. That's fine. But if you have SBO doing a ninja thing next to your personal OC, then yeah, I'm going to have to steer clear of that because that's your idea. That's your property. I have no claim to it. And I don't want to risk anyone saying, oh, well, he clearly copied this idea, because I already get that. We created a bunch of new characters for post-reboot Archie, Archie Sonic Volume 2, and there were people saying, oh, they clearly ripped off my original character, and I'm like, you have maybe the same species? Maybe the same color scheme? I have no idea who you are. I had no idea this existed until you screamed that we stole it. So to make sure that I am protected from those allegations, I don't accept anything. And because some folks would point out Misty Ray as, oh, well, this is, precedence, I can't even joke about it anymore because people will bring it up like that. And somebody's going to take it seriously and somebody's going to make it a problem.
That's the problem with Sonic fans. Y'all create your own characters. And then when somebody else makes a character and it's very similar to yours, it's like, well, I mean, there's only so many animal species. There's only so many colors. It's hard.
You know whose fault this really is? It's Knuckles'. Because nobody knew what an echidna was before he came out. And then he came out and like, oh, wait, echidnas are cool. What are all these other weird animals in the world that I should make my OC on so that it's completely new and original and different? And that's what everybody did, except for the bajillion hedgehogs and foxes out there.
Yeah, I mean, you should blame Knuckles for a lot of things, I suppose. Knuckles deserves it, right? Right?
He can take it.
Yeah, he's a big boy. In some incarnations, at least. I still say that people don't know what an echidna is.
Echidnas are awesome. Look it up right now.
I know what an echidna is, yes. I'm making a joke.
No,
Anyway.
I'm not saying to you. I'm saying to everyone who's listening.
Yeah.
Pause the video, go to Wikipedia, look up echidna, educate yourself. They're awesome.
Yeah. Also a little weird. That's okay, though. All right, let's move on into the standard Q&A, shall we? All right, this one comes from PC the Unicorn. Ian, I remember reading somewhere that you wanted to, or at least had the idea of, doing a What If comic featuring Roll on what if Roll volunteered to fight the Robot Masters instead of Rock. And I'm curious to know if you've ever wanted to do any What If comics involving Sonic characters. If so, what kind of What If comics would you want to do involving Sonic?
Oh my god.
I would say that 30 years later and the future storylines and stuff like that are kind of what ifs.
Yeah, they definitely are. My plans for Silver's ongoing adventures would be a lot of what if scenarios.
Right.
And Sonic itself is just rife with options, like.
Absolutely.
What if Shadow was never woken up? What if Shadow was woken up sooner? What if Gerald had gotten the ultimate life project to work without the Black Arms? What if the Black Arms had decided to invade instead of cooperating with Gerald? What if the Death Egg hadn't fallen the first time? What if it was Knuckles who found Tails and raised him as his little brother rather than Sonic? What if this? What if that? There are just so many freaking possibilities, man.
What if Sonic had failed to destroy the Death Egg the first time, or
Right,
at least bring
right.
it down? Like, what would happen? What would things be like after that? Yeah.
What if Angel Island was never brought back into the sky? What if Eggman had successfully blown up Station Square?
Yep, man. There's a
what
lot.
What if Tikal had not managed to seal chaos away? Just oh man, the list of possibilities is endless.
Endless possibilities, you might say. Yeah. Are those? Is that it? Is that what kind of comics you would do?
Yeah, at the very least.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Mad Dogger 237. Are the classic Sonic era games canon to the IDW continuity, and will those be explored later down the line?
Insofar, just as much as the modern games are, which is to say, loosely. I think Sega is still deciding whether or not classic is a true past or alternate past to modern. So I'll let them figure that out while I work on the current direction of the book.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I don't know. It frees it up a little bit. If it's an alternate past, then they can do more classic games.
Ian.
And you don't have to worry about it not syncing up with the modern games,
Ian, you don't have to agree with me. But I mean, you don't have to try to be nice because you work for Sega.
No, this is my job, dude, to figure this stuff out.
I know.
And since I can't control it, I have to learn how to ride the rapids.
I know. It's just, to me as an outsider, it's like, why are they doing it this? Why? Anyway. All right. Next question comes from Diligent Dodo. In a recent IDW issue, Shadow impaled the Super out of Neo Metal Sonic, and I've been wondering what the playbook ruling on this situation was. Are super forms susceptible to surprise attacks now as a general rule? Maybe this falls into the same category as, say, Knuckles sucker punching the Super out of Sonic when they first met. Or is there a different reason the expected invulnerability failed him? Maybe Shadow's edgelord powers were especially potent that day from being upstaged all year.
I like that phrasing. Well done, Dodo.
Yeah.
That whole segment went through a lot of back and forth with the powers that be. Lots of revisions, but ultimately my thinking was that he used a Chaos Spear, which is Chaos Energy itself, and that was what was cutting through the super armor. Now, if it were a normal energy bolt, it may not have worked. That, and I'm going off of the precedent set by the Mecha Sonic in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, who could not maintain a super form, just hold it for a little bit. So that I'm assuming that Neo Metal Sonic wouldn't have been able to maintain his super form for the entire fight. So chalk it up to good timing and Shadow's just especially broken power set.
All right. And our final question comes from Liam B. I see overtones in Nicole's idea as a character similar to Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey and the film Blade Runner. Did these serve as inspiration for bringing in a machine character whose humanity would slowly become more apparent?
No, especially since I hadn't seen either of those. Well, I've seen bits and pieces of Space Odyssey, but sitting through that whole thing is a bit much for me. The idea of a non-human character becoming human or finding its humanity is kind of ubiquitous to all science fiction. If anything, she's more inspired by Lieutenant Commander Data out of Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah.
Or Cortana out of Halo, or, pretty much any character that started off as a voice, but then gained some personality.
Yeah. I could definitely see, like, Cortana, definitely, and Data. But it is so ubiquitous in pop culture, that sort of non-human character whose humanity sort of unveils itself over time, that I don't know, the inspiration can come from anywhere.
I mean, You've got your Spock, you've got your Data, you got your 7 of 9, you've got your Doctor, you've got your Odo. It's
right.
They kind of show up all the time.
Right, exactly. All right, and that's the final question for this episode of the BumbleKast, and actually it wraps up this episode of the BumbleKast.
But we can't go yet. We have to give a big thank you to all the patrons who make this show possible. Thank you so much to Daniel H., Eric F., Connell T., Alex P., Andrew D., Blue Title Gamer, Coupling Crew 128, Fredericks, Scruffymatt, Saturn Flecky, Chris A., John B., Jennifer R., Reverend the Light, Lisa M., PC the Unicorn, Dois Diz Din, David M., Daniel B., Mike B., Samuel P., Sam Cybercat, D Gamma F, Wow, Brody M, Neil H, Justin G, David M S, Silly String, Takaro, Lee HK, Chevelle, Don B, Sin Fritz, John M, James K, Adam BT, Overthinking Films,
and Ron.
No, there's no Ron.
What? No.
Ron has left us.
Oh no!
And before the 100th episode, well,
it's okay.
Ron, you were with us all this time. The show won't be the same without you.
Ron,
but thank you for your patronage.
Ron, we will miss you, but thank you, yes. I actually am legitimately sad. Oh, man. That's heartbreaking, Ian. I'm so sad.
Yeah, it doesn't really end the same way. It doesn't have that punch.
I don't feel like the show's over. We have to keep going forever because we can't end it without Ron.
We'll just have to soldier on. If you want to find me without Ron, head over to bumbleking.com. That's got my schedule of release dates and con appearances. You can also follow me on Twitter at Ian Flynn BKC. Kyle, where can the people find you?
I'll be trying to pick up the pieces over on Twitter at KyleJCRB. And you can also head on over to KNGI.org, where you can find archived episodes of the BumbleKast and many other shows, including my other show, Nitro Game Injection, which is a video game music show that streams live Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
You can contact or follow the show at bumblecast@yahoo.com, and you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and pretty much anywhere you get your podcast from.
And don't forget also Twitter at BumbleKast. And you can also head on over to the Bumble Store to get some Bumble gear at shop.spreadshirt.com/BumbleStore.
Then join us every Sunday around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for BumbleKast Gaming Live, and throughout the week whenever we are able to stream for you. Keep a weather eye on the Discord and the Twitter channel for announcements of when we're playing games.
Yes. And with that, I guess we do have to bring the show to an end.
Next time, it will be BumbleKast episode 100, the big 100, which is going to be nothing but Q&A. How many Q&A? Well, it's episode 100. We'll see if we can't do 100 questions.
I've got them lined up, buddy. But it's going to be... it's going to be a big one.
We'll see. If this thing turns into like a 3-hour thing, we're going to break it up. But we'll see how it goes.
All right.
We'll all find out in 2 weeks. See you then. My back. Hold on, guys. Just give me a minute. Who are you? Oh, God. I am your doom. Freak. Give me just a second. Gotta take a knee. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth.
I'm lost. What's going on here? I'm looking at sound levels, and all of a sudden things are happening, and I'm like, what is Ian doing? Am I slightly better now?
Woohoo! Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So should have warned you I was turning it up.
Suddenly I just had this essence of Kyle looming over my shoulder. Andros like.
It happens.
How do you like me now?
Boy, that's... I can see my levels, and they do seem quite loud. No for you. Not for you. No more Q&A for you. You're done.
Back to Bumble Gulag with you.
Bumble Gulag.
No, you're thinking of Bumble Goulash.
Oh, you're right, I am. That sounds pretty good too, actually. I'm into it. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Also, Ron, if you're listening, don't feel bad. Please don't. We're kidding. Totally understand that. Sometimes you just got to step away from these things. So it's cool.
Absolutely.
It's cool. It's totally cool.
No shame, no resentment. No. Like, if anyone has to bow out, I mean, we're just happy we have patrons at all.
Exactly. I'm just surprised people are willing to give us money in the first place. So, yes, very thankful and very grateful that you, for anyone who has been a patron, who is a patron, and actually who will be a patron. So, hopefully, we'll have more patrons at some point. But yes, no problems. We're just silly over here. It was just such a good way to end the list.
It was such a good monosyllabic name. Just Ron.
Yeah. It was good. I'll miss Ron.